Lisa Pezik here. So excited that you are tuning in to this episode that takes it back to the beginning. I was thinking a lot about where was I in my business 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when that confusion happens. A mentor of mine, Brendon Burchard, who I studied with, he laid it out and said, the first 1 to 3 years in business, you don't know what you're doing. You're trying to find out who you are, what products and services you want to offer, who your ideal client is, how you position yourself, where you show up. 3 to 5 is where you get a solid foundation. 5 to 7 is where you become profitable, you're ramping, you're scaling, you're growing, you're adding team members. If that's in your business and you need the help because you want to stay in your lane, you're maybe hiring mentors, getting into masterminds, and then 8 years and beyond is what everybody hopes for when they first get into business, where you can take days off and you're sipping margaritas on the beach and driving your brand new fancy car. And we don't realize that it takes sometimes 8 years to get there. For me, I got there quicker because I learned how to invest in mentors to get me to where I needed to go. And that was one of the main reasons why I stayed in my full-time 9-to-5 nursing job, was because of the paycheck. I got into nursing because it was mommy dearest, my mom's dream, and I was living it. But I stayed when I realized that I wanted to make a transition, and I started in health and fitness coaching, and then I got into life coaching, and now I've landed in business coaching, video coaching, content coaching, and doing the done for you services with Eric, with my husband. But I invested in Brendon Burchard and Bo Eason and Roger Love and Marie Forleo and Chalene Johnson, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for my job, if it wasn't for that stable, high-paying, wonderful income. Even though I didn't love what I was doing and I didn't want to do it anymore, I hung a little bit longer because it fueled my learning. So I want you to think about, if you're still in a 9-to-5 and you hate it, you are mad at it, you are frustrated that you have to go there every day, how can you find purpose in what you're doing? How can you, I don't want to use the word justify, but how can you find meaning and say, yes, this sucks, but it helps me have X, it helps me do Y, it moves me along. And I think about, that was probably one of the first things that I want you to think about, is who can you invest in? How, put away a pot of that money that you have, if you have it, and start to invest it in whatever this new venture is that you want to do. I knew I wanted to get into online marketing, ding, 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 Brendon Burchard. I wanted to be a better speaker, ding, 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 Bo Eason. I wanted to speak and not sound like a kid. Sometimes I would get that, you sound very young, which doesn't work when you're getting into sales conversations. Ding, 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 Roger Love. I wanted to learn how to write better copy. Ding, 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 Marie Forleo. I loved what Chalene was doing on Instagram, so I followed her, and I layered on my teachers and mentors all the while I was still in that 9-to-5, which I left just a few years ago. So that's the first thing. You can't do it alone. You need mentors, you need coaches, you need someone like us that's a done-for-you service that coaches you through and does it with you. That's number one. But most importantly, number 2, you gotta have a story. You must have a story. Story is what moves people. Story is what makes people want to do business with you. It's what makes people trust you. It's a personal story. That's why we love good movies. That's why we love to read, great books. Because the storyline, the characters draw us in. That's why birth is such an interesting time for women and for people. I was doing a Peloton ride earlier today. They did Beyonce. They do artist series where they pick, Lady Gaga and Beyonce, and they just pick all these, artists that have done amazing thing, Alicia Keys, and you work out to their music. They picked Beyonce, my favorite artist of all time. Why? Because I love her work ethic. If you don't know about Beyonce and her work ethic, go and Google how much she practiced for her iconic Coachella performance. 45-minute performance. Go see how long she worked her butt off for that. I love her. I love this ride. And they quoted Beyonce, and she said she was cracked open when she had her first daughter. And she realized her purpose, and she knew that she wanted to create a world where opportunity existed for anyone, no matter the color of their skin, their gender, their race, their age, etc., etc. If you've been pregnant, like me, that's a story that develops inside of you over 9 to 10, or however long. I was pregnant for 10 months. 9, he didn't want to come out. 9 months. You imagine what your baby will look like. You talk to your baby. You get the nursery ready. You plan everything. There's a story somewhere in there about the preparation and the anticipation. And then what happened? Did the way you planned things come true? We all have stories. We all have a purpose. Why we do what we do. And a lot of times our story is when things did not go our way. Not when we won the gold medal. Not when we were first in the class. Not where we graduated with honors. Maybe the end result was we graduated with honors, but maybe it was you had this tough teacher who told you were never going to graduate. You had to work 3 jobs to put yourself through college. You had a professor and you're a teacher in 2nd grade that told you you're never going to amount to anything, or someone bullied you on the playground. Those are the things that every single person can relate to. And when we relate to you and we trust you, we'll invest with you. So you need a mentor, you need a coach, you need someone to show you the way, and you need a good story. Those are the first 2 things. Next, you need a place to put that story, and you need to attach some teachings to it. Because not only do people love the motivational, the underdog, the vulnerable, powerful story, we want to know how to do what you do. We want to know how you achieved what you achieved. So you got to teach. You got to give steps. If you can come up with what I like to call a framework that you can use anywhere, anytime, with anything, that's what people will pay for. They will pay for your framework, whether it's the 4 F's, the 3 T's, the 4 steps, the 7 steps. I came up with my online in 9. That was one of my very first courses. It was 9 steps to getting your first online paying client. I came up with I know it's not sexy, but a time management planner for all my procrastinators out there and moms juggling a million things. And the T and the I and the M and the E in time management stood for a step. It was 4 steps. So those are the kinds of frameworks that I want you to start thinking about. You have a framework. You can write about it in email copy. You can speak about it on a stage. You can teach 1 step of it somewhere to tell people there's 3 other steps I'll teach you. Come invest with me. This is just this first quick win. You need to teach. Because once they hear the story, their ears are open. They already love you. They already want the goods. Give it to them. And put that in something you can monetize. An ebook, a coaching program, a membership, a book. But I like to say do something quickly. Because I can't tell you how many people I see takes 6 months, 12 months to launch something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be done. It has to be launched. It will get better. You'll get people in. You'll get more feedback. We know that it takes people 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times until they say yes. And if you wait till it's perfect, they're going to be moved on to the next person who did the damn thing when it wasn't perfect. But they were out there and they were trying and they were doing. So put it into something you can sell. I always say a coaching program is one of the easiest things you can create because you can get on Zoom and the platforms are already there for you. You could have, even though I'm not a big fan of social media because to house your programs, because you don't own it, push came to shove, you can do a Facebook group, right? My gosh, we have all the tools imaginable to us now right at our fingertips. And then once you've got that mentor to show you the way, or you're at least following somebody, even if you haven't invested in them, you're listening to their podcasts, you're picking up their books, you're doing what they say, you're watching their YouTube videos, you're Googling all their interviews. You know who you're following because they're doing what you want to do and they're going to tell you how to get there. You've got your story that unites you. You put that with some teachings into a product you can sell, and ding, 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 guess what the last one is? Launch! Sell it! Make the offer! Make it your call to action. So many times people don't make money in business, or we don't get clients because we don't offer. That if you build it, they will come is such a myth. No, if you tell people about it, if you work it, and I say get yourself at least one social media platform that you like, that you're going to start ramping up. And that may change over time as social media changes. I started on Facebook. I still do a few things there. I went to Instagram. I still do a few things there. I have YouTube. Still do a few things there. But LinkedIn has been the one that I've recently been really spending a lot of time on because my ideal people are hanging out there because they're looking for done-for-you services. They're looking for people to help them scale and grow their business. They already know who they are and who they serve. They're just hitting snags along the way, and they need some strategy and they need some done-for-you stuff to get them out there and the eyeballs on them. So go with the platform that makes the most sense for what you're trying to do. If you want to be a speaker, YouTube. I used to get my very first speaking gigs because people would see me on YouTube, or I'd put the YouTube videos on my website to direct people to. That's where this podcast was birthed out of. When I wanted to become a writer and write books, I started a blog. I started to write more on Facebook where you could write long posts and you could go live. Writing articles on LinkedIn. Match the social platform to the goal you're trying to achieve. So the thread that ties this all together is that intentionality, being intentional with every single move and step you could take. Because whether you're a newbie or whether you are scaling, you have a lot of options. In the beginning, if you don't have that mentor, you're grabbing from every person that you can and trying to decipher and figure out what to do. Once you've become successful, however you measure that, whether that's in impact, whether that's in income, whether that's in team members that you've got to hire, you're so good that so many people bring so many opportunities to you that you've got to get really ninja about what moves the needle in your business and what brings you joy. Because you're going to have a lot of options. And they're not all going to bring that impact and that income and that joy that you want. Because you're so good and you're resourceful and you've had success and you're figuring it out, you're going to have a lot of options. And sometimes too many options equals nothing because you're confusing the heck out of yourself, you're burning yourself out, and you're confusing your market because you're trying to do it all. So you got to know your lane and you got to stay in that lane. If I can help you with this, I am just an email away. I am just a message away. Lisa at lisapezik.com. If you go on my website, at the bottom of every page, you'll see a 30-minute strategy call that you can book with me. I don't want you in overwhelm. I don't want you going, yeah, but Lisa, your path is so clear. You knew what you wanted to do and what order you wanted to do it. That's not true. I got out there and I started doing, and then the right door opened for me. Those opportunities came. People started helping me because I was out there doing it and I wasn't going to quit. I'm just a message away. Do not stay in overwhelm. Now more than ever do we need leaders. Now more than ever do we need people to share what they know and share what they've been through and be generous with their stories and their teachings. Everybody is fighting a battle. Everybody is struggling with something. And if you have the solution, then you're being selfish by not offering it because you can't get over yourself. It ain't about you. It's about them. They need you. So go and get yourself paid. Go and get yourself with some more impact and legacy and putting your head on the pillow at night saying, I did good today. That is my wish for you. I'm just a message away. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on the Lisa Pezik Show.